Have you ever taken a false step in your life and then thought to yourself, I wish I had thought this through, or I wish I had taken that one advice? Everyone makes mistakes, and that's okay. But in the financial world, some mistakes can cost you a lot of money and probably your life. You know what I'm talking about. But then you don't have to make mistakes if there is a way to avoid them. We can learn from the experience of those who went before us in the same path and then use that wisdom to guide us in the right direction. So in this video, I'll give you 10 tips on how to avoid some common mistakes that I have learned during my investment journey. This video will probably take 5 to 10 minutes of your time, but the future investor in you will thank you for taking this time. Hey friends, I am Srijit, and in this channel we talk about two most important aspects of everyone's life, money and time. You have to keep in mind that I'm not an expert on the subject, and whatever I say here are based on my own personal experience and the way I do things. Those who have watched my first video might be all excited to get into the investment train and put the money to work. But before you go there are certain factors which you could take care to improve your chances and maximize your returns. So without further ado, let's get started. The first and the most important point before you rush to move your money into an investment plan is to define your goals, both in the short term and in the long term. For instance, a short-term goal could be a vacation to Spain in the next 3 to 4 months. A mid-term goal could be down payment on your house for the next 3 to 4 years, and a long-term goal could be saving for your retirement. Regardless of the time frame, if you don't know what your goals are or why you are investing, you could easily lose sight of the big financial picture and start making mistakes. Next thing is to analyze your current financial situation. Are you planning to get married in the next 3 to 4 years? Have kids? Are you planning to get more independent and switch your job? How much money do you need every month for your expenses? How much money do you have to invest? You need to have a clear idea about this. I would suggest you sit down somewhere with a pen and paper and write down these numbers. And when you write them down, be realistic about it. Make sure that you have enough for your expenses and to pay your bills. Obviously, our ultimate goal is to make money. But everyone's needs are different, and your investment should be based on your needs. Do you have any bad debts from your credit card? If the answer is yes, then you are not in a position to invest yet. The interest rates on credit cards are much higher than whatever returns you get from any investment. In no world it makes financially sense to skip paying a credit card bill that has a 20% interest and put all that money into an investment plan which gives you only 5% interest. I have to stress that all debts need not be bad. There are good and bad ones. Good debts are those that help you to generate an income and increase your net worth, like the loans you took for your education, your business, or real estate. But you have to get rid of those debts that drain you out. So take your time, identify those debts, especially the high interest ones like the credit card, and then do everything possible to get rid of them. And then come back here and start your investment journey. Why do you need an emergency fund? In polite terms, shit happens. We are living through one right now. I am one of the lucky ones who wasn't much affected by the pandemic, but I know many whose life turned upside down in a single day. It is so important to prepare ourselves for what life throws at us. And one way to do this is to have an emergency reserve. This is the money that you can fall back on if needed. I am in this investment journey for the long run, and I believe so are you. But if you don't have an emergency fund when you need one, you might be forced to deviate from your plan and sell your investments when things change drastically. As we discussed in the first point, once you define a time frame and a strategy for your investment, you have to stick to it. And for that, having an emergency fund will help. How much money should be there in this rainy day fund? It's a good idea to put around 3 to 6 months of your living expenses and make sure that the money is liquid. That means you have access to the money whenever you need to without paying any additional penalties. This money is your safety net, and you make sure that you got yourself covered for that unexpected fall. No investment is risk-free, and you need to be somewhat brave to make money out of it. But then you have to realize that there are also other important things in life than money. Family is important, relationships are important, your peace of mind is important, and you need to know when to apply brakes, slow down, and stop taking risks that can harm all of this. Just because you can afford to take more risk doesn't mean you have to. You need to figure out your personal risk tolerance level. Ideally, you have to consider a lot of things to calculate this, like your investment time frame, your expenses, your age, your financial situation. But I will give you a simple way to calculate it. Imagine you had 100,000 euros invested in the stock market, and one rainy day, the stock market fell and you lost around 50,000 euros. How are you feeling? I know you'll be sad. Everyone will be sad. But are you devastated? Are you losing your sleep over the money? If a potential loss of that magnitude stresses you out, then it's a clear indication that you have to trim down your portfolio in favor of less riskier investments. Where you invest and how much you invest is totally tied to your risk level. Another important factor you have to think about is your investment time frame. Anything less than a year is a short time period, 3 to 5 years is a medium time frame, and beyond that it's a long investment horizon. Normally, investments of shorter period requires constant monitoring and an expert knowledge on the various possibilities. You need to invest more time and effort to get some returns out of it. I don't want to spend a lot of time monitoring the stock ticker every day and figuring out what changed in the last 24 hours. And I believe if you want to do better as an investor, the single most powerful thing you can do is to increase your time frame. Now I will teach you a secret to identify the bad investments from the good ones. This is called the magic triangle. It has got 3 corners, and those are security, how safe your investment is and how less likely you are to lose your money, liquidity, how easily you can convert your investment into ready cash, and returns, how much profit you can make from your investments. These 3 criteria always compete with each other so that in every serious investment, only 2 of this can be achieved at one time. So if someone tells you about that great investment which gives you absolute security, great returns, and always available capital, in that case, you might have to wake up because you are probably dreaming. A good rule of thumb in investing is not to put all your money in one basket. This concept of owning a wide variety of investments is called diversification. You can split your money across various investments such as stock market, real estate, or even collectibles such as Pokemon cards. Yeah, that's the thing. This one was recently sold at an auction for around $400,000. You can also go a step deeper and further diversify your investments into different sectors such as just the US stock market or the emerging markets or the renewable energy sector. I will cover how to create a well-diversified beginner portfolio in the later videos of the series, so do watch out for that. Keep in mind that the market constantly fluctuates over short term and things go up and down. It's a good idea to have a mix of everything so that your portfolio can survive this market volatility. That way you will have some investments that are making profits when others are going down. You may well have the money and the motivation, but this won't help if you just sit and procrastinate and don't regularly invest. You shouldn't postpone this to tomorrow. Today is the time. Now is the time. An excellent way to overcome this mindset is to set up your long-term investments on autopilot. Set aside a certain amount of money to be automatically invested every month. This is called dollar cost averaging. This has 2 benefits. First, it forces you to save. You don't have to remind yourself to move aside money to your investment plan, and this works like a set it and forget it model. And second, and the most important benefit is that it takes the emotion factor out of the investment. If there is one thing that you have to master to be successful at your stock market investment, it's not a financial degree. It's not early access to the information. It's the ability to control your emotions. When you invest regularly without worrying about how the market performs, you will not fall into these short-term fluctuations. If you are someone who doesn't have much time to analyze the market and time your investments, then dollar cost averaging or regularly investing is the best way to go. And most of the investing platforms provide the option to automate your investments by directly debiting from your bank account. You just have to choose the frequency and the amount that works best for you. One of the best investing tips that I got as a beginner investor was to invest only in things that I understand. You need not be an expert on the subject, but you need to have some basic idea about what you are doing with your money and where your money is going. Every information is available on the internet. You can watch YouTube videos, you can read blogs. Just gather some information about your investment before you put your money. A lot of investing can be done independently, but talking to others and learning from their experiences can help you to avoid mistakes and learning lessons the hard way. And finally, there is no point in filling the bucket if there is a hole in it. Spending your money wisely is the most important step you can take to put yourself in a better financial situation. A common trend that we see is that as we age or as we earn more income, we all fall victim to the trap called lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep means that as we make more money, that once seemed to be luxuries become necessities. That once in a month eating out or takeaway soon becomes a once in a week thing. When you get a pay raise or when you move to a higher position in your job, it is normal to think that you deserve to live better. It will reflect in what car you buy, where you dine, whatever you do, and the strange thing is that you may not even realize it. Just because now you can afford an Audi instead of Honda doesn't mean you should. Instead, you should try your best to live the same way you always have lived. You can't control how your investments perform, but you can always control how much you save. I hope these tips would be helpful to you in your investment journey. In the coming videos, I'll explain to you some stock market basics, how to open a broker account in Germany and start trading. So think of subscribing to the channel. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Until I see you in another video, stay safe, stay happy. Bye.